recording. All right, there we go. Okay, so Nina and I have been working on the RTC mix tilde under Big Sur, and we're hopefully converging on whatever the heck is going wrong. I noticed that there was a new update to Big Sur that just came out today, but I don't know that it's going to fix anything. I don't know, again, how many people this affects, but, you know, hopefully not too many. Also had a report that RTC mix tilde, this is from Chi. Hi, Chi. Nice box. That RTC mix tilde was not working well under PD, and we're going to be investigating that and try and check that out. Has anybody else had any bad luck running, or RTC mix shell? I don't know if that's running on Big Sur or not. You know, I'm hoping we can get at least something for people to use pretty quickly.
Yeah. I'm also having it's like a kind of weird thing that happens with PD is like I have to like go into PD and the extern and then open the like the example patch from RTC mix, and then only if I have that open that the RTC mix object will create, because if I don't open that, it won't create.
That's bizarre too. Huh. Hey, Chi, maybe that's something you should try too. Okay. What operating system and machine are you working under?
I'm on Mac. I think I'm on, let me just see. I think I'm on Catalina.
Okay. Okay. Have you done the gatekeeper thing where you drag it over into the terminal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
like, it just doesn't create unless I open the.
How weird. That's very odd. Okay, I'll put that on the list of things to check out. Oh well, yeah, I have been creating PD patches though to mirror what we also talk about, and I lied about something last week. I said PD didn't have sliders. No, they have sliders. So all the patches that we made in MaxMSP last week, you can download and hopefully run in PD. You might try opening those patches directly, like double clicking on the patcher, and see if that'll create the thing. Okay, Max, you got your hand up.
Yeah, hey, just wondering, for those of us using PD, what's like the best way to follow along if we're using the like PD version? If you're doing in Unity, is it pretty much synonymous?
Yeah, they're almost identical, and the whole thing where you select and copy and paste. I'm going to go through this again tonight, okay? Where you copy and paste the scores and then get them into Unity. That works exactly the same way for PD as it does for RTC Mix, as it does for MaxMSP.
Well,
okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, anyhow, yeah. Let me show you. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay. Let me stop my music share here. Okay. Because I just kind of want to show you where we are. All right. Share. All right. And let's see. I'm going to go to my thing here. Yeah. Here's our syllabus. Okay. And again, I've been kind of putting everything in here. Here's some links to some basic stuff about synthesis and things like that. And down here, like I said, these are the PD patches, and they exactly mirror these patches. You know, actually, for me, they're working really good, and I was very happy. But I'm sorry to hear. Now, these scripts, if you can run the RTC mix shell, you might be able to just at least run some of the scripts. You can't do the things with the sliders and stuff, unfortunately, because RTC mix shell does not support that. Okay. And then these are the two Unity projects that we did last time. All right. But I just want to kind of show you where we're heading. Okay. Tonight, hopefully, will be fun. I've gone through kind of what I want to show you. And at this point, we're not going to be doing as much coding. I do want to still take you through the process of putting in a sound, but I've got some other sounds to go in, and I'm not going to painfully take you through watching me type on all of those. Okay. But what we're going to do is show you some of the more fun tools of Unity. We're going to basically create a landscape, and we're going to put a volcano with lava on it and trigger it, and then we're going to put a mystical cylinder on it somewhere if we can. It's really, this is when it's fun for me, because you're like God, and you're just creating these things, and it's really, really exciting. So, and along the way, you know, I'm going to be introducing you to what these things are really cool, particle systems, you know. Then next week, we're going to be tackling a project that John Levy had in mind, and it has to do with, we'll be looking at how we localize sound, and how we can deal with multiple sound sources and ultimately feed those sound sources with real-time input, you know, because that's something else that's kind of fun to do. Then the week after that, Tim Kwasny, who shows up occasionally, I've done this before with him. He does really interesting videos, and I thought, wow, it'd be really fun to translate one of those into a VR experience. So we're going to kind of go through that, and that's going to talk about how you can import external media like pictures and videos and graphics and stuff inside this virtual environment. Then we're going to have fun just, you know, doing production stuff, making sounds that kind of sound cool. And yeah, that's great fun for me too. Then Nina's going to talk about a big project she did where she created her own virtual Japanese garden. And at that point, we should have all the tools in place that you could understand how she did it. Then we're going to talk about what's involved in actually creating a Unity project and deploying it on the web. Okay, which is actually, it's easier than you think, but it's harder than you think. I mean, it's easy to just really get something going. You know, it's hard to maybe try and sculpt it a bit because you're dealing with a much more limited palette of things that you can do. And then we got a couple of guests. Lara Lewinson has done a lot of that work. She was a student in this class last year, and she'll be talking about her work and kind of where she's going. Then Ethan Edwards, he just confirmed he's a former sound art student, got a job. He's working at Bell Labs now, and they're doing a lot of very interesting work. He and Seth and others work together pretty closely. And then this will be if we, you know, run out of time. We got, you know, one more week that we kind of catch up, and then the class presentations will just be fun. Okay, so that's where we are. That's where we're headed. Yeah. Again, any questions or concerns? I think it should be pretty straightforward. Let me ask you this: did anybody? It sounds like you all tried to make some sounds. I hope at least a few people were successful with it. You know, again, we are going to be doing some redundant stuff today, kind of hopefully taking you through this thing. And speaking of which, maybe we ought to just start jumping on into stuff, okay? Let me see, what do I want to do first here? I'm going to look down here. Hold on a minute. Okay. I forgot to write something down, but that's okay. Okay. Let's start up Unity, I think, and I want to show you how you can build a world. Okay. Oh, I got some questions in the chat here. Okay, hold on a second. Let me take a quick look through here. Okay. Henley, try PD. Okay. Try PD. See if that works. Let me know if you have problems with it. Okay. I think it should work. I'm hoping it would work. Okay. If not, okay. Okay. Oh, Nicola, yeah, that last week, that last time, actually, possibly in Lara's class or Ethan's class, they would only use half the class. Okay, I'm going to still work that out. Okay, but we'll get it happening. Otherwise, we've got that spare class that we can use too on April the 7th, I think. Okay, but I do want you and your friends to present because, yeah, I think that's going to be a fascinating project to look at. All right. Okay, what I'm trying to decide if I want to do sound first or let me do some Unity first because this will be fun. It doesn't involve any coding, you know, and all of a sudden you just get some cool things to happen. All right, so let me share my screen, and this time I'm not going to share sound, or yeah, because I'm going to do that later. Okay, and that's always a little problematic. Okay. Get my Zoom thing out of the way here. Get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. Leave that there because I might need it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is start up Unity. Okay. So I'm going to go to my Unity shell here, and I'm going to start with a new project. And all these new demos say to use this LWRP template. I don't know that much about it, so I usually don't. I'm just going to go with a plain old 3D template. Okay. And we're going to call this g6611 / Unity class for project. Okay, and we're going to put that in week 4. Yeah, right there. Okay, select folder. So let's create the project. and it'll take a little while. Again, when I've got my screen share showing, I can't see but maybe just 4 of you guys. So if you've got questions, and I don't have the chat working either, so just shout them out or let Nina know, and she can kind of interrupt me. Okay, here we go. It's coming. It's coming. Come on, Unity. Yeah, Unity. Oh, Unity. Ah, there we are. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build a terrain. Okay. Let me get these guys out of here. Okay. Instead of putting down a plane or anything like that, we're going to build something a bit more sophisticated. Now, Unity is in the process of changing how they do their terrains, and all of the videos that I checked out for tutorials do something that I'm going to recommend you do too, because it's much better. Okay. Go to Window and go to this package manager. Okay. Because this is where you get kind of new add-ons for Unity. And right now, there's not that many. What you do is go under Advanced and then say Show Preview Packages. These are all the things that they're kind of toying with. All right, and the one, in fact, I'm surprised it's not included. Maybe in Unity 2020 it is. I'm still using 2019. But this is a bunch of tools that they have done for creating terrains. It's basically all the stuff that you used to have to do that was a little bit clunky from this inspector. They've kind of consolidated a little bit. So if you go down here and scroll way down, you'll see down here that there is terrain tools preview. Okay, so we're going to click on that, and then we're going to hit this preview button here, or we're going to hit the install button down here. Okay, so now it's going to go out to the world and download these terrain tools. I was going to do this ahead of time, but I wanted to show you guys how to do it. Okay, so that you're kind of aware of these things. So it'll take a little bit of time, but yeah, we can relax and talk about life and snow and fun things like that. Okay, I also like to make the thing kind of go along the top here, because after you've seen that spinning rainbow thing enough times, you got to do something with it. Okay. It should be finished shortly here, and then we've got one more import to do, and then we're going to have fun. All right.
Are you downloading just the terrain tools, because it would take too much time to download the whole package, like the basic?
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's we're not doing the whole Unity tools and all that stuff. Here's the thing: these terrain tools, they actually have a subset package ready for you to kind of like do. Okay, and I've already downloaded it, so it should find it on my computer somewhere. All right, here we go. These things called shaders, we're going to be talking about them a little bit later on. Okay, those are the things that actually realize the graphics. They do the rendering in your Unity scene. Okay, and we're going to be using a shader to change the environmental sky that we see, because we're going to make something a little bit darker than the normal stuff. Okay, now here it says download asset samples from the asset store. We're going to do that too. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. Oh, golly. Yeah, I might have to restart Unity at some point here. This will take a second. Tell you what, while we're doing that, maybe I will start showing you what we're going to be doing with sound. Okay, I forgot to turn on use computer sound. Maybe I'll stop my share for a second. Okay, here we go. Move that guy over there. Yeah, I'll stop my share. Okay, I'm going to restart my share. Share computer sound. Right. Okay, and we'll just kind of like hide Unity for a second, if we can. Oh, I guess we can't. In fact, I kind of screwed things up here a little bit. Okay, so we're going to let that go, and here's what I want to do. Okay, I have basically, we're going to be creating 3 different sounds. Okay, and the first one is just kind of, oh, I think, nope, it's still not happy. Where did Unity go? Geez, guys, I'm getting really carried away here. Okay, let me bring that. There we go. Okay, good. Let's go back to this. Okay, now we're going to download the asset samples from the asset store. Okay. Oh, that's what it was doing. It was bringing up this. Okay. And this free terrain tool sample asset pack, we're going to say open in Unity. Okay. Because what that's going to do is see that tab there that says asset store. That's going to go to this asset store. The asset store, we're going to be talking about that in the future too. This is kind of the big thing you need to explore with Unity. This is where you can download and use a lot of pre-built stuff that's actually really good to have. Everything from trees to rocks to whole scenes. You know, people actually make their living selling these assets. You can buy like a whole medieval village, or you can buy a whole outer space, you know, set of planets or stuff like that. Okay. I made a choice a while ago just to use free assets because I thought that would be a nice thing to do. Anyhow, once this is open, I'm going to hit import here, okay? And it's going to like, since I've already got the package installed on my machine, it didn't have to download it already. But here we go. All right, and this is what this asset pack has. It has a bunch of different terrain stuff like mountains and terrain stamps and brushes and things like that. So we're going to say import, and it's going to bring them all in. Okay. And once that happens, we will have access to those assets. I'm going to show you how you use them in a second here. Okay. Here we go. Asset project progress. We'll go back to the sound in a little while. This shouldn't take too long. Okay. By the way, you can detach this. I mean, one of the things that's kind of annoying about Unity is that this is a little bit tiny. If you want to see the asset store and like kind of explore the different assets, if you grab it, you can actually detach it and put it like there and have it be its own separate window. And then you can expand it quite a bit and you can see a whole bunch of the assets in the asset store. Okay. And then when you're done, you can take it and put it back into Unity. Let me move this out of the way so I can actually get to it. Okay, I can actually take this tab and I'll put it back up here next to my scene, which is where I usually like to keep it. But again, you can rearrange these and put them wherever you want. Okay, so let me go back to the scene. Okay, and we should have our assets. And the way you're going to know that you have them is if you go down here to the assets and you go to samples, you'll see the terrain tools are all there. Okay, all that fun stuff is there. And then if you go to the packages, I believe, oh wait, see, you guys can't see this, but your pictures are getting in the way here. Okay, arg. Okay. As I was moving that around, I inadvertently hit the mute button too, okay? But basically down here, you can see there's the terrain tools in here, and you're gonna see all these different kind of assets that are gonna be here. What I don't see though, which I'm surprised, is I don't see the terrain assets. The terrain tools are there. Okay, well, if we start getting really twisted, like I said, I have pre-built this so that we can actually take a look at what I've done, okay? But let's, let me go back to my asset store. I'm gonna re-import this, okay? Sorry. I think I may have accidentally shut something off when it was working, okay? Here we go. Nothing to import. Okay, the assets are already in the package. Okay, life is good. Okay. All right, so let's build a terrain, okay? So here we go. We're going to go up there. Now, I like to keep my game view open down here because I can see exactly what the camera is seeing as I'm building it. You may choose not to do that. You can actually get rid of these tabs. You know, if you control click on them, you can actually say close tab, or you can re-add it back there if you want to. But I'm going to keep it like this. And the thing I'm going to do is go to game object. I'm going to go to 3D object, and I'm going to go down here to terrain, okay? And it's going to create this thing. And the thing that it creates is huge, okay? And it also puts it in the plus X and plus Z direction, okay? Now, a lot of times I like to move the camera over, and we're going to do that, but this terrain, I'm scrolling way out, is 1,000 unity sort of things by 1,000 unity things, okay? Now, I don't really like it that big. You know, if you're building a big terrain, that's nice. I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to go back, and we're going to make use of our terrain tools, okay? And how you make use of the terrain tools is you go up to Window, and you go down here to Terrain, and we're going to open up the Terrain toolbox, okay? And here you can actually set how big you want this this terrain to be. And I'm going to make it only be 100 by 100. And then the height, that'll become apparent to you later that that you're going to be able to, you know, set the heights for different things. Okay. So now I'm going to say create. All right. And let's close our terrain toolbox. Okay. And notice it's much smaller than it was before. So we're going to zoom on in. Okay. There's our terrain. Okay. Now, what do we do with the terrain? Okay. Well, if you click on it, you'll see, doggone it. Hold on, guys. See, every time I scroll around, you can't, oh, maybe you can see it. Yeah, okay. This is the terrain in the inspector, okay? And you can add a lot to it, but basically, most of the things that we want to do with the terrain are now available through that toolbox, okay? Let me see here. Right. Okay. If I click on this terrain, that gives me these different things like these brushes and stuff like that. If you want to see everything that's set about this terrain, you click on this little gear thing, and these are all the different things that you can change. All right. Now, one of the things I'm going to change right away, though, that I believe is here. Okay. Let me scroll back up. Is where is it? Yeah, it's not here, it's another place, okay? What I want to do is I want to turn off something. We're going to be talking about lighting later. Right now I'm going to go to lighting, and I'm going to scroll down, and there's this thing that says baked global illumination. We're going to turn that off, okay? Because what that does is every time you change the scene, it does this thing called baking the light. And that's for stuff that doesn't move. It calculates all of the light vectors that are going to it. The problem is it takes time. And if you don't turn it off and instead allow real-time global illumination, it's kind of painful to work in Unity because it kind of like rattles around and keeps baking this stuff. In fact, you can see it down here. It's preparing a bake. It's going to stop eventually because I turned it off, okay? However, this is much more compute intensive. So when you finish your projects, you often want to like turn that, that baking back on and let it bake the thing away. All right, let's go back to our inspector though, okay? Now, that's the old way of doing it. Again, the new way is to use this toolbox, okay? So I'm going to open that back up because somehow I put it somewhere and I can't find it, okay? Terrain toolbox. Oh, not that one, not that one. What I'm going to do is actually, it's already built in here, okay? This create neighbor terrains, that's if you like have a terrain and suddenly you need more space, you can add more terrain to it. Again, there's some really good videos that I'm linking in that show you how to do this. But we're going to look primarily at this little brush thing, paint terrain, okay? And these are the things that were brought in by that terrain toolbox. And this kind of configuration of how the brush is set up, the old way to do it was a little bit difficult, okay? And you can paint a texture. I'm not sure why they made that the default, because the first thing you generally want to do is raise or lower the terrain, okay? Once you engage that, okay, you can choose these different brushes, okay? And we'll just start with this default cylinder one, and you'll see how it works. I can basically create like weird stair-steppy mountain things, okay? Now you notice that it's going pretty quickly, okay? What you can do is, geez, what happened? I just, right, there we go, sorry about that. We're gonna go with a different brush mask, okay? Something like this, okay? And if I can set the strength of this brush down here, okay? That means basically as I click and hold, how long does it take to like grow up, okay? So if the strength is set really high, I can click and hold and like, whoa, it makes really pointy and tall mountains very, very quickly, okay? Which I don't want. But the really cool thing about this terrain toolbox is that if you hold down the A key, you can actually then move your mouse left and right and set the strength that way. Okay, so I'm going to set the strength down like this. And we're just going to create, you know, I feel like that guy that you used to see on TV. What was his name that made the cute little trees and all that good stuff, you know? Let's put in a few like taller mountains in here, okay? We'll put one there, maybe we'll put one there, okay? All right, and you can see down here how this is looking. You know, this is actually turning into something kind of intriguing, okay? So let's pretend like that's the landscape of our dreams right now, and we're really happy with it, okay? If we hit play, you'll notice that the camera is in a weird position, okay? Here we go. Okay, what I'm gonna have to do is restart Unity, I think, okay? Yeah. Okay, it's going to take it a minute to kind of like do this after it's imported some of that stuff. Again, unfortunately, this is something I have a fairly old Macintosh, and it's also trying to do Zoom at the same time, so it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, it's taking a lot of time, but we're going to kind of let it finish out. In the meantime, let's go back and talk about sound, shall we? Okay, let me put this down here. Okay, let me put this over here. I wonder if I can like change that. Okay, no. Yeah, let's go back over here. And let me show you this patch while we're waiting for Unity to kind of catch up with things, okay? Basically, I wanted to have, what I want to do is create kind of a mysterious sort of dark scene with some characteristic features. It'll be kind of fun to see, okay? And let me see here. Okay. Boy, my poor computer is just really struggling here, guys. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. Let's, there it is. Okay. Let me show you what I did was basically, yeah. I'm using a noise instrument that has a filter attached to it. It's called II noise, okay? Looks like maybe going to happen there in a second. What I did is this setup allows you to set a center frequency, okay? And this is going to be between 150 hertz and 250 hertz. This is the bandwidth of that frequency. I'll put up a kind of a tutorial about filters and stuff for people who don't know any of this, okay? And then this is the amplitude of that, okay? Then I created that amplitude envelope that basically just goes from 0 at 0 to time 1, or 1 to time 2 at 0, which will go for the total duration. And then I have a max bang re-triggering it a third of the way through. So that what this does, let me trigger this around, is it generates this cute kind of windy noise, okay? Oh, let me make sure that I'm going out audio status. Audio device, Zoom audio device, okay? All right. Okay, hold on. Okay, and this is what it sounds like. So that's going to be our ambient sound, which is kind of, if you keep it turned down pretty low, it gives it a real kind of a character to the place, okay? So let's quit Max MSP, go back to Unity here, see how we're doing with this, okay? Like I said, I'm going to restart Unity, okay? So let me save this, okay? Because otherwise we're going to be like having all kinds of problems here to save. I guess it's already saved. We're going to quit Unity. Okay. All right. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Dang, guys. Okay. We're going to do a modification of this. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to, let me show you the other sounds that I've got kind of pre-made for this while we're waiting for Unity to restart. Okay. Let's go here. And we're going to make a volcano. Okay. And this volcano is going to have lava coming out of it. And of course, if you have lava, you have to have like a good lava sound. Okay. This is my lava sound. Okay. What I'm doing I'm using good old wavetable again. But I'm using a frequency envelope. Remember how I told you could apply this to both amplitude and to frequency? Well, I'm applying to frequency, and it's going to start out at the pitch that you start with, which is a random frequency between 3,000 hertz and 5,000 hertz. And then over the duration of the note, it's going to go down to 0.7 times that. So we're going to get like a kind of a sliding, kind of going down sort of sound, and notice that I'm scheduling 20 of these at once because I want big clusters of this sound, okay? This is a standard kind of a programming thing where it says you start at 0, you go for as long as you're less than 20. Each time you add 1 to this variable that you're counting with, and you do everything inside here, which is calculate a new frequency, make a note with that frequency envelope that goes, and then add a random amount to the start time, okay? And it sounds like this. So that's going to be our lava sound, okay? And geez, for some reason Unity is not happy. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to force quit Unity. And then we're going to restart it, okay? So let's go over here to my Unity hub, okay? Go here. Hopefully it hasn't destroyed the scene. Nah, it'll be fine. Okay, so waiting for Unity to come back up. All right, promise for in the future, I will have a lot of this stuff pre-made. I wanted to show you guys how to go through it, but you can get that from the video tutorials, I think, because this is getting a little painful. So last week it was Zoom was killing us. This week it's Unity is killing us. Just hang in there. I guarantee it'll be good. It'll be wonderful, okay? We only have one more thing we're going to do to the train. We're going to actually paint a texture onto it. Now that we've kind of created what we want it to look like physically, in terms of where it's located and things like that, okay? All right, here we go. Huh. Somehow this seems to have gotten a little twisted around, okay? I'm trying to close that because I don't need to do a new version of Unity. All right. We're doing on time. Pretty good. I wonder if having this package thing open is a problem area. Ah, good. Okay, now we're back. Okay, so now if I play the game, okay, it's not going to really do a whole lot. Basically, we're playing it right now. All we're doing is we're seeing here, and, and I could have hit this maximize on play, and we could see that it's not really very exciting. Okay, there, not exciting at all. Okay, first thing I want to do is make it look better, and then we're going to, like, move the camera into the right place. Okay, and the way that you make it look better is we look at our terrain again. Okay, and we select our brush thing, only this time we do want it to paint a texture. Okay, and what you do is a texture is a thing that that basically you can tile this with, and they're specially made to look like grass or rocks or moss or things like that, or wood if you're like painting it onto a fence or something like that. There's just like huge number of textures that you can download. You can Google them and get things like that. Okay, but the thing to do is if you want to paint a texture, you have to add a layer to it. Okay, and to do that, right. Hold on a minute. We're going to, where is my layers? Okay. Okay.
Layers on the top right above the inspector.
I just got it. Just got it down here. Okay. Oh. Right. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't scrolled down far enough. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to basically, we need to add a layer here. So we're going to add a layer. Okay. And then it gives you, this is what we downloaded from that asset store. It gives us right now a choice of some very basic kind of layer terrains. And I'm going to use rock because we're making mountains here. So I'll click on that. Okay. And that's going to appear right there. Okay. Now, once that's kind of engaged, when I go up to my brushes here, okay, I'm going to choose maybe a brush that looks like this. I don't know, let's go with this cylindrical brush, okay? And if I basically, I'm going to take the brush, and now if I hit S, I can actually change the size of the brush as I move my mouse. And that's actually one of those things that you can select in the stroke here too, this brush size. But basically now, when I move my mouse over this sort of mountainy thing, you can see, look at the camera view down here. All of a sudden, it's starting to look kind of interesting, okay? So let's go up here and, just kind of fill in back here, even though we're not gonna go back there. It's just, you can get very anal about this, And all of a sudden, this scene is starting to kind of come alive a little bit, okay? Now, here's the problem. Again, our camera is like way over here because it sets it up in that weird X and Z positive direction. Let's move the camera over into the scene, and then let's add our capability to move the camera around while we play the game, okay? So here's what you can do. You can click on the camera, and you can go down here and grab it and start trying to move the camera into the scene, okay? But that's like really tricky to do because the camera is very tiny, okay? There it is. In fact, I'm having a hard time kind of clicking on it here, okay? You can actually go over here and you can move the camera this way by moving it by hand, but there's an easier way to do it, okay? One of the best ways to do it is to simply zoom in on the scene, find out where you want the camera to be, like maybe right there, okay, where I am, okay? And then if I click main camera and I hit up here under edit, lock view to selected or frame selected, I think it's lock view to selected, that will move the camera. Oh no, it went back. It's not that one. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just messing up here. Let's go back here. Okay, let me put my camera in where I want it. I want it right there. Okay. Okay, and now what I want to do is say, dang, what do I want to say? Frame selected? Shift F. there's a way to get the camera to like move there. Oh, I have to click the camera. Click on the camera, okay? Then I go, oh shoot, darn it. I forgot there's a key combination that will actually move the camera to where you're located. Does anybody know what that is by any chance? Are there any Unity like maniacs out there? Shoot.
I never used the shortcut.
Yeah, okay, well, let's just not use the shortcut
If you
either.
push
Okay.
F or something, push F. Yeah.
It just F by itself? I think that might be right, okay, because I was hitting Shift F, and that was what was causing the problems, because I was making it go back to the camera. Okay, here we go. Because, all right, so let's go, F. Ah, darn it. Okay, we're gonna move the camera. Okay, here we go. We're gonna move it that way. We're gonna take the Z, move it that way. Oh, this is much easier, isn't it? There is a way to do it, but I just, I've completely slipped in my mind right now, okay? All right, so here we go. Let's kind of zoom in here and see where our camera is. Okay, I really want it to be over here. And there's a way to grab that camera, which I'm also having trouble with. Boy, guys, I'm sorry. This is not one of my more sparkling lectures here.
Do you mean like Alt and mouse click?
Is that what you do?
To rotate,
I was trying to grab the camera with my mouse and move the camera with my mouse.
Oh,
Right.
I'm not sure if that works.
Yeah, well, it's not working very well. Anyhow, well, now we're getting at that. Okay, we got our camera preview. It's actually looking kind of how I want it to look, okay? So let's just leave it there. Now, let me hit save so I don't like lose that, okay? Now if we hit play, we're gonna see that we're actually in the scene, okay? We're not off to the side, okay? There we go. That's looking pretty cool, all right? So let's stop our play here, and let's get back to this. And what we're going to do is now add our movement capabilities to the camera, okay? So we got a terrain, we got a camera, we're going to move the camera around, then we're going to start adding some sound. Life will be good, okay? So let's go out here, okay? And I've got my observer move script. Let me bring that into here, okay, into my assets. Okay, I want to put it in assets, right, up at the top level, okay? So there's my observer move. And remember what we did was we generally just put it right on the camera. We're not going to do that this time, but I'm going to start that way by showing you how and what the problem is. Can't add script because it's still compiling. Okay, all right, stop compiling. Okay, now we can add the script. Okay, let's see. Take our observer move, put on the camera, go to our camera down here to observer move. Let's set our speed to be 3, our rotation speed to be 1. And now let's do some moving around, okay? So I'm gonna hit play here, okay? And now, here we go. Now we can move, okay? We can look up at our glorious mountains that we've made, you know, and let's go kind of exploring. Let's go over here, and something is gonna happen that's not good. We can walk right through the mountains. Ah, that's not generally the behavior you want to have in your game, okay, or your virtual reality environment that you're creating. How do we prevent that from happening? Well, we have to do this thing called adding a collider and physics to the camera, okay? And let's go ahead and do that, but I'm going to be doing it wrong, okay? Because we're going to have to do something slightly different. But let's go ahead, and what we do to do that is go down here. Now I'm going to collapse these little things here. You can collapse where you are, because I want to be able to see more of these components. The first thing I'm going to do is go down to physics, and I'm going to add a thing called the rigid body to the camera, okay? Because that's the thing that allows it to interact with physics. And I'm also going to say use gravity, okay? So we won't go flying off into the air or anything like that. But that's going to cause us a problem, okay? Let's add another component. We also need to add, in physics, we need to add a thing called a collider. This is the thing that's going to determine when you're trying to walk through a mountain. And the mountains have, the terrain has colliders on it, and this camera now will have a collider on it, and they will interact and say, you can't do that, okay? So we've got the collider happening. We've got the rigid body happening. Let's play our game and see what goes on, okay? All right, so here we go. All right, now notice that that little bump happened right at the beginning, okay? That's because we're using gravity, and there's a problem. We're actually stuck kind of down here, and we can't actually rotate up to look around. We can move around, however, okay? And we can actually now bounce off of these things, but look, that's not very good, because if we bounce, we kind of bounce weirdly, okay? So we're going to fix a number of these things kind of at once, because all of a sudden, look, I've like, I'm kind of like lying on my side, and there's no way for me to get out of this, you know? So that's a, by the way, if you are actually using virtual reality goggles, this is guaranteed to make you really sick, okay? Take it from me, as one who knows. All right, here's what we're going to do. Rather than putting this onto the main camera, we're going to create another sort of game object, and we're going to make the camera be a child of that game object. And the game object is the thing that's going to have the collider and the rigid body and the stuff like that on it, okay? So let's, that'll allow us to set the camera to a particular height, and then we're going to address the problem of the physics that cause it to like scroll around in weird ways, okay? So let's remove the components that we added to our camera, okay? Remove this. We're going to remove the observer move, because that's going to be added to our component now. And let's create an empty game object, okay? Okay, and it's fortunately should be near the camera, okay? Okay, where is that game object? Try raising it up a little bit. We should be able to see the outline of the game object, but I don't for some reason, okay? Well, let's go ahead and put the camera on it, okay? What it does is it will put it very close to where we currently are, so it should be kind of in this scene somewhere. Not seeing it, but let's go ahead and we'll just call this game object, just so that we know what it is. We'll call it the observer, okay? And let's put our camera as a child of that observer, okay? And now we want the camera, these transform locations X, Y, and Z, these are now relative to the observer, not relative to the game. So we want the camera to be right with the observer, so we're going to reset those to be 0, 0, 0. Ah, that's why we couldn't see the observer, because the observer was way back there, okay? Let's bring it towards us, okay? So here comes the camera, okay? Let's move it over a little bit this way, okay? Let's put the observer down on the ground. Oops, no, that's the camera. Yeah, we put the observer on the ground. Notice the camera went down on the ground, because the camera now we're going to raise up a little bit, maybe by like 2 meters, okay? And that might be a little bit tall. Okay, we'll raise it up by 1 meter, okay? So now we've got the observer here, okay? And the camera is there. And to the observer, we will add the observer move script, okay? To the observer, we will also add now our rigid body. And to the observer, we will also add our collider, okay? Now you can actually make the observer be a sphere or a capsule or something like that, or you can make it be a body of, you know, some object that you've created, you know, but we, like I said, I'm creating an empty object because I don't even want it to appear, okay? That's why we couldn't see it. We had to add the collider to it, okay? So here we are with our observer. Now, if we play the game, okay, something really weird is going to happen, okay? See, we fell through the terrain. That's because I didn't do it very well. This terrain is actually slightly lifted here, and the observer is on y equals 0. We have to make sure that our observer is above the terrain. Otherwise, it will fall through because it won't interact. Sometimes it'll even like scooch it off to the left because it'll be interacting with this weird collider, okay? But now we hit this, and now life is good. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? On my observer move script, I forgot to add speed and rotation. Okay. So we're just about there. Okay, now let's try playing the game again. Here we go. Yep, now we can move. We can rotate the camera up and down. What happens when we collide with something? Well, we still have that problem, all right? Because the physics are interacting in such a way that it's like basically just running into something and throwing us off, all right? Here's how you fix it. Under the rigid body, there's two things we could do. We could actually not use gravity, but that's not optimum because then we can't like track the terrain. We're just kind of like floating above it the whole time, okay? What we can do is freeze rotation in the X, Y, and the Z direction. Now, that will still allow us to rotate given our moving script, but it will freeze the rotation of the physics of that rigid body, okay? And now, if we play the game, we'll be able to move our camera and we'll bonk into this and it'll just bonk us back. Okay, so we're not going to like go spinning around or anything weird like that. And we can actually start cruising around our terrain and seeing, you know, how wonderful it is. Whoa, look, there's the edge of the world. Isn't that something? Let's see if we can climb these mountains a little bit. Yeah, we can climb them a little bit. Oh, look, we're really getting up there. We're like quite the mountain climb. Okay, yeah. So all of a sudden it's starting to take on some life, you know. Again, I'm sorry about the problems that we had earlier, but it looks like we're kind of getting under control again right now. Okay, so now we've added the camera. Now, like I said, we want to make a volcano, right? Okay, so the best way to make a volcano is to use a thing called a particle system. In fact, the best way to do a lot of really cool stuff in Unity is to use a particle system. Once you start getting into it, there's a bunch of particle system examples that you can download and just kind of see what they look like. But they're the thing that really give the game kind of some magic and some motion and things like that. So let's figure out, where do we want to put our volcano, okay? Let's go cruising around here. How about if we put it, say, right there, okay? So it's going to like shoot stuff out of there, all right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a particle system, and then we'll put it up there, all right? Let's go here, and it's under effects, say particle system. And immediately it starts, okay? And wow, it was actually close to where we wanted it. But let's see if we can like zoom in on that, okay? And let's move our particle system around a little bit. Let's grab it here. Okay, I'm going to rotate up particle system. Okay, let's make the Y go up a little bit. Okay, it's basically, it starts out just giving you a default, okay? You know what? I'm going to reset this to 0, 0, 0 so I know where it is, okay? It's over there, okay? And let's go down and let's see if we can like get this particle system up where we want it, okay? Why can't I grab and move the particle systems, the stuff, okay? Okay, let's bring it back by our camera. Where's our camera? I mean, our observer. Okay, 28 point, we'll make it 1 and 15. Okay, so let's go here to our particle system. Make it be 28, 1, and 15. Okay. Okay, there it goes. Okay. Now, it's shooting our particles, but it's shooting them up at a weird rotation. We're going to rotate it so it tries to shoot them up. Okay. There we go. Actually, I'm going to put it up on our volcano where we want it to be, okay? Because we want to like see how it's going here, okay? The other thing that I want to do is I want to turn off these orange outlines on the particles because I want to see what it looks like, and that's done with these gizmos. You can turn off the selection outline, okay? Now, let's look at our particle system again. Okay, let's see if we can raise it up and see the ending of it, you know? Okay, let's go down here and start looking at the many, many different things that you can do with the particle system, all right? First of all, I'm going to look at the shape, okay? It's a cone. You can actually change the shape, okay? But we're going to like maybe tighten the cone up a little bit, okay? So we can take this angle. I'm just not doing well here. There we go. Okay, and we can see how the cone is kind of like rotating around, okay? Well, this is kind of messed up, guys. Let's make it a little tighter cone too. Hold on, I'm going to set this back to 0, 0, 0. Yeah, for some reason when this was created, it didn't like 25. Let's try 100. I'm going to recreate the particle system, okay? All right, let me select my observer because I want to put it by the observer. So let's go to game object 3. Let's create an effects. Let's create a particle system. Okay, I'll put it way back there again for some reason. Okay, what did we say this was? Okay, but now it's shooting it upright. That's good. Okay, it's shooting it the way we want it to be shot. Okay, so let's move it out here. Okay, let's move it in our x-axis over there a little bit. Let's see if we can find out where it went. It went way over there. Okay. We're getting it close to where we want it to be on that mountain. Yeah, that's actually not too bad, okay? So we're gonna start modifying the particle system so it looks more like lava. How do we do that? Well, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna change the color to be like orangey red because lava looks orangey and red, okay? Now that still doesn't look very volcano-like because it's like shooting these like discrete particles up. What we can do is change the start size of the particle to be thick. Now all of a sudden it starts looking lava-like. But the really cool thing about lava is that it doesn't just shoot up into the air, it flows down the mountainside, okay? And we're gonna do that by going over here and dealing with this start speed, okay? If I turn that down and then make it go negative, it'll start shooting it down. Now we can't see it because it's over on the other side. We're going to have to move it. Okay, let's move it along the x-axis a little bit and bring it over to this side. Okay, it went into the mountain, so let's bring it up a little bit. Okay, move it a little bit more on the x-axis. And where did we say we want it? Right there, right, okay.
So you can't grab it because it's an effect and not an object?
There's something wrong. I'm missing out. I couldn't grab my objects either. So I'm doing something incorrect and I don't know what it is. I'll have to kind of like figure it out. Okay. So I'm having to do this by hand, you know, kind of like that. Okay. But now it's starting to look a little bit more lava-like. What we're going to do is also take the gravity modifier and increase that a little bit because that'll cause it to flow down. There we go. Now, that's looking a bit more lava-like, okay? Let's play the game and see what it looks like inside our play, okay? So here we go. There we go. Now, it's not great, but I'm going to call it good. I'm going to put the version that I did up on the web, okay? But by fooling around with these parameters, you can start getting quite a bit more. In fact, one of the things we could do with a start color is randomly choose 2 different colors and make the other color be maybe more of a yellowish color or something like that. So now if we play the particle system, that's a little bit, well, that's bad. I'm gonna make it a little more yellowish. There we go. Okay, that looks a little bit more lava-like, okay? All right, so we got our lava, we got our sort of terrain. Let's back out a little bit and let's add some sound to it, okay? here we go. The first thing I want to do is add the ambient sound to it. All right, and I'm going to do that by going back to my Max MSP patch where I had the ambient sound, which is right here. Okay, now let's give it a listen again. Okay, all right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this. We're going to add the RTC mix capabilities to it so that we can use that to create our sound. So I'm going to go to our Unity package, drag it in here, okay? Import all of it. And again, I'll get the error down below once this gets imported that says that I have to do unsafe code. So here we go. Let's go up to our edit, to our project settings, to the player, and let's cruise down here and we'll find the use unsafe code, allow it, yep. So that's all set and life is good, okay? Now let's create an object, okay? We're gonna create an invisible object, create empty, and we'll just put it back at 0, 0, 0, okay? And we'll call this ambient noise, okay? Let's take a look at this inspector for it. Well, that's not good. There it is. Okay, let's reset it to 0, 0, 0. We don't really even need to know where this is because we're not using it to localize any sounds or anything like that. Okay, but let's go ahead and look at some of our scripts here. Okay, we're going to look at the beep script initially, and we're going to add a script to the ambient noise, and we're going to grab the stuff we need from the beep script to allow us to make that noise. Okay. Okay. Here comes Visual Studio. There we go. Okay, let's go back here, and to ambient noise, we're going to add a script to it, okay? We're going to call this script, new script. We'll call it ambient noise. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm just going to kind of keep it, sort of consistent. We're going to create and add the script. Okay, we're going to go out to our assets. And we're going to double click on that so we can edit that script. And it just gives us this stub, all right? We're going to go and grab, now this time I'm not going to do it all at once. I want to do it one at a time so you can see what's going on. First thing I'm going to do is grab those 3 variables at the top, okay? So I'm going to copy that, go to ambient noise, and put those 3 variables at the top because they're important. They're the object number, which again, when we have more than one, we're going to have more than one in this scene. We have to use a reference to the RTC mix main object, which we haven't added yet. And then this did start just tells us that audio is running okay. Let's go ahead and make sure that we add the RTC mix thing. It's in our prefabs. We need to make sure and take this one and add it up here to our object hierarchy. Again, we can put it wherever we want. It just has to be there because that contains all the code that makes the sound happen, okay? So now let's go to beep and let's say, well, we got a whole new function here we don't even have in our first one. Okay, I'm going to edit and copy that out. Add that into our ambient noise. I just pasted it in. And what that does is that finds that RTC mix main thing that we added here, and it gets this component. That's the script that has all of the functions that we can now refer to by that variable RTC mix. And in fact, the very first thing we're going to do is down in start is we're going to initialize RTC mix. So I copy that. Okay, I just did a mouse accelerator that time. And down here in start, we'll initialize RTC mix, okay? The next thing we have to do is send a score and then set did start to be true to show that we're actually running. Now we're going to change this to have our sound in it from the max patch that we created, okay? But we have to do just one more thing, and that's in here. These 2 functions at the very end, this is the thing that actually computes the sound, And this we have to have because when we quit, we need to make sure and turn everything off properly. So I'm going to select that whole thing. Okay. Copy it. And we're just going to add those in down here. Paste it. Okay. So that's set. Now let's go back and let's replace this wavetable. If I ran this, if I played this now, we would just hear that single beep, you know, that says, oh, sound is happening. Okay. But let's go ahead and just jump ahead and let me go to my Max MSP. What I'm going to do is go in here and copy this entire script. Edit. Select all. Edit. Copy. Okay. And then, let me hide Max MSP. We go out here to the scorealizer, which I just love. And we paste our script in. Hit Control D. And then between the two dotted liney things, this is our score, okay? So now I copy that out. Go over here, above the send, paste it in, and I'm going to make this be a lowercase s. I'm going to change that in the scorealizer so we don't have to deal with adding that other stuff. Okay, and now this is our whole noise thing. We simply replace that with score. Okay, and that then takes this whole nonsense and then sends it to RTC Mix, and it starts doing its stuff, and it'll start making noise, and it's going to send a max bang. So we need to intercept that max bang and then resend it, because that's the kind of banging around that goes on. So let's go down here in where we're computing our samples, and we say if RTC Mix dot check max bang, if that, for this particular object number, if that is equal to 1, that means we got a good bang there. Okay, what we're going to do is resend that whole score nonsense. So I copy that over, paste it down here, and that's what's going to get us our noise kind of happening over and over and over again. Okay, so now I save that. You got to make sure and save it, because then Unity will know that something has happened. Let's go to Unity again. Here we are. Okay. And okay, should I run it? Because it's not going to make any sound. Okay, I'll just tell you why. Because I always forget to do this. You have to make sure to add a component here that it's an audio source. Because if you forget to do that, it won't make any sound, because it won't assume that there's any audio coming from it. Okay, at this point, now when we play our game, we should hear that nice ambient noise in the background, okay? We don't hear the nice ambient noise. Oh, this has just not been a really great, or you know what? Maybe we are hearing the ambient noise, but Unity isn't set up properly to go through all this stuff, okay? Zoom, Unity, Zoom and Unity. Okay, let me get this set, guys. Hang on a second.
But you said your microphone, you didn't set it on sunflower.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Now, with any luck, we might hear the sound. No. Okay. Let me check and make sure that we're actually doing everything properly here. Okay. Ah, I did, no, that's right. Did start equals true. Yeah, that's all set properly. Actually, I can tell if we're making sound or not. Hold on. Wait a minute. I need to turn this off. Okay.
Should you put the audio source? Is the audio source component supposed to be on the ambient noise?
Yes, it is. I put it on the wrong thing. Okay, let me, yeah, what a stupid idiot that was of me. Okay, ambient noise, right, here's where we add the component. Thank you. Boy, I'm just really striking well here. Okay, now, hopefully, when I play this, we'll get sound. Yeah, there it goes. Can you guys hear it?
I thought I heard it at first.
I could hear it.
I hear it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
here's
audio canceling is like filtering it out for me.
Yeah, I'm going to try and reset that. Hang on a second here. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, you guys can hear that better now, right? Okay.
Yep.
Thank God. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, this is pretty screwy. Just so you know what's happening, I'm actually sending all of my audio output on my main computer. I'm sending to this thing called Soundflower, which is going to Zoom. That's why I can't send my microphone to you on that computer. So in order to talk to you, I have a second computer set up that's actually just a participant in the chat. So that's what I'm looking at right now, and that's why I'm looking over here. So yeah, anyhow. Oh, and here comes my cat. Oh my God. Just, it's, hold on. Go. See, the reason I had to do that is because the cat likes to attack me while I'm on Zoom. I don't know why it hates Zoom, but if I didn't like chase it away, it would like launch onto my feet and make me yell profane words very loudly. Okay. All right. Now we're cooking with gas. We got our ambient noise. We got some lava happening. All right. Now, I wanted to do something with the lava. Okay, I wanted to have the lava basically not start immediately, but be triggered by the movement of my game player. It was going to actually go through something that would then turn the lava on, okay? But I also wanted to do some other stuff. I wanted to change, you know, let me show you this again, okay? All right, wait, no, that's not gonna do much good. Hold on. Okay, let me maximize on play, okay? When I play this game, this is kind of a cool terrain, but it's not as like mysterious and scary as I wanted it to be, because the sky is just nice and blue, okay? I wanted to show you how to change the sky, okay? And that's actually not that difficult to do. And once we change the sky, we're going to change the lighting, okay? I want to show you those two things, and then I'm going to bring up the finished version that I did to show you how to trigger things so I don't have to go through all the coding and all that nonsense, okay? Here's what we do. We go to lighting, okay? And the skybox material, that's this thing. That's called the skybox. Now, what we can do is we can change that material. If we click on this, it brings up all the materials that we have in our scene. And this is stuff that was added by the particle system, but none of these will work to create a skybox because they're all specific to things like the particle system, the frame debugger, whatever the hell that is, you know, and stuff like that. What we need to do is create our own material that's going to be specific to this, that will have certain skybox characteristics. So we're going to go down here to create. Let me go back out here to assets, okay? And we're going to create a material, okay, down there, bang, okay, and we're going to call this my skybox, okay? Now, if I click on it and go back to the inspector, okay, if I try and add this now, first of all, let's set some properties for it, okay? This is the color that our sky is going to be. Let's make it be kind of like a weird kind of dark bluish color, okay? Yeah, that would be nice. Something like that, okay? So now we've got our color set for this thing. Let's go back and say, all right, let's make that our sky. So we go out here and we hit my skybox, and something has happened, okay? It says, shader of this material does not support skybox rendering. Remember I said that you needed to have a shader? Okay, look, at it then defaulted to nothing. And that actually looks kind of cool too. Okay, but we want it to be like this weird color. Let's go back and look at this. Like I said, the shader is the thing that actually renders all the stuff in the scene. And right now our shader is set to standard, but we can set that shader to be a skybox shader. And now we have different choices. There's a 6-sided or a cube map. These are different ways. You can actually put images in the sky. Like a lot of times I'll take a picture of a sunset and you can, like, you know, set it up, or you can create your own map of stars or whatever, you know. The easiest one to use for something like this is a panoramic one, because you only put in just one material and it does the entire sky. So we're going to select panoramic, okay? And now we go in, and now the color is different. We change the color with this tint color here, okay? And let's go over here and we'll change it to this like darkish blue. And you can now see that it's showing up in our background here. So we can actually look at it and go, whoa, that's kind of mysterious. Or we can make it like weirdly red, you know, or something like that, okay? But let's do it like that, okay? And now when we play our game, it's gonna look a little different, okay? Yes, it's got a nice dark bluish sky, which is, oh, so much better than it was, okay? All right, now, you can do more. You can go back to lighting, and we can actually change this environmental lighting. We can change the main source of our environmental lighting to a color, and now we can actually change the ambient lighting that is reflected off of our mountains. We can change the color like this. Okay, and this is becoming fairly complicated because it's interacting with the color of the sky from the skybox. So it's not like directly this color. You'll see it's kind of like weirdly that color. That's not a bad color. Okay, so we're gonna like maybe do that. And again, this is where, oh, we wanna click that and we wanna unclick the baked. That's right, I forgot to do that again. Okay, then we can go back to the inspector. And the other thing is, if you look at this lighting, it says, the sun source is the directional light. That's actually a game object. And we can even change the rotation of the light, you know, and get it to, like, you know, cast shadows in different ways. See how the shadows are changing depending on how it's rotated, okay? And we can change the color. And this is where the light itself is, you know, you can like start messing with the color and doing all kinds of weird stuff like that. Again, think about how complicated this is. You're factoring in the environmental ambient light with the color of this light that's up above. you know, and we get all kinds of like weirdness happening, okay? So let's leave it like that. And you can also change the intensity, okay? So you can make it like bright, make it dark, you know, you can do something in between. Let's use one. So there's many, many things that you can do to kind of change the lighting of the scene. Lighting is a big deal in Unity. And I'm just showing some very basic stuff, you know. But at this point, you know, all of a sudden we have a scene that looks kind of cool. Okay, with like weird lava that's just kind of coming out of that mountain for some reason. Okay, right. Okay, so yeah, let me make that be a weirder color. Yeah, let's make it be. Oh, you can just get carried away. I'll stop. Okay, yeah. This will be our weird green mountains. Okay. Yeah, green mountains. Okay, so you can have a lot of fun with that, all right? Now, there are two things that I wanted to do, and just in the interest of time, I'm going to bring up the finished project and show you how to do it, okay? The first one was, like I said, to have my game object guy, okay, my walker guy, where'd he go? Yeah, down here, if we select the observer, to have that collider basically interact with something and have that something then control whether to turn on the lava or not, okay? And let me tell you what I did was basically I created another game object, okay? And I made it be a cube, okay? And let's find out where the heck did that cube go? Well, let's bring it back to our observer here. He's now about 28, about 1, and then about 14. So let's go to this cube, and let's make that be 28, 1, and then here's where it gets like really messed up, okay, the Z thing, okay? So there's our cube. What I'm gonna do is basically grab the cube. How come I can't grab it? Ah, I need to grab the grabber thing, that's why.
You have to see the vectors, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Like
Cube.
on the object?
There we go. Yeah, all right. That's what I've been wanting to do like the entire class, okay? And I think I had to have that selected. It's weird. It's actually, this is again much easier on Windows and Macintosh because you have to use the key accelerators, but hey, that's the way life is. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this cube be very slim, 0.1. We're gonna, oh wait, 15. I made the thing. We're gonna make the scale of it be 0.1. So it's a very thin cube at this point. We're gonna make the X grow, and we're gonna make the Y grow, okay? All right, and now, if you look at our observer, okay, we're basically right by this cube. I'm gonna move this cube out of the way a little bit. Okay, let's move it back here. Okay, let's move it back Z this way, okay? And now let's move it down a little bit so it's like sunk into the ground. Okay, and let's make the scale be bigger along there, okay? So basically I put a cube right in front of us, okay? And it has a collider already attached to it. So if I were to say play the game, oh man. Something else is about to happen. I just knocked my power out quite a while ago and I noticed my Macintosh is almost out of power. There we go. Okay, now look, there's a big cube in front of us, and if I try and go anywhere, I just run into the cube, or a wall in this case. But we're colliding with it. And that's what's important, because we can turn this into a trigger by clicking that. And that trigger we can use to control the other game objects. So now, if I play the game, I can actually go through this. But in going through it, I have triggered a trigger. Now, the other thing is you've got a big green wall in front of you. You probably don't want that. If you turn off the renderer, it's transparent. So now if you play the game, you can go through the wall, set off the trigger, and you won't even know it until something happens on the game, okay? Well, when you go through it, how do you trigger something, okay? We'll call this the trigger, okay? And we're going to add another component. We're going to add a script to it, new script. We're going to call this a trigger script, okay? And let's now go down here, to trigger script. And it's a basic script. What we want to do is add a new thing called on trigger enter. And we're just going to say debug.log. Hey, this is it. When you go through that and you set the trigger off, it calls that function. All right, so let's save this. Now we're going to look at our console. Let me not maximize it on play. And watch what happens when I play and move forward. Watch down here, okay? Because you'll see that as I go through it, it triggers it. There's the hey. In fact, when I go back through it, it'll trigger it again. It'll trigger it every time I go through that invisible wall. It's setting up the trigger, okay? Now, here's what we can do with that trigger. We're going to change the name of our particle system, and we're going to call it lava. The same way that we found the RTC mix main from our script for making the sound, the ambient noise, this thing here where it says gameObject.find, we can find the lava game object, okay? So let's go to our trigger script, and we're going to say this here. We're going to say, okay, lava, we're going to call this thing. We're going to say game object, lava control, okay? And we're going to go down here in the start, we're going to say lava control equals gameObject.find lava. And now, well, that won't do anything, okay? But basically, once we have that, then we can go down here into on trigger enter, and we can say lava control, and we can look up how do you turn on and off a particle system. Well, you call the play command. Now I've typed something wrong because it's not showing up, okay? But I'm going to show you the finished version of this now, okay? So you can see how that, I wanted you to understand that we can actually find that object and then use that object to control itself, okay? The only other thing that we had to do in order to make this happen was on the lava particle system, we had to unclick play on awake, because otherwise it would always start whenever we started the game. In this case, by unclicking it, we can control when we start it by going through that, that thing, okay? And you're going to see one other aspect that I was going to get to, and we're going to go over that a little bit again next time, because it's going to be critical for understanding how we localize the sound that we're going to be kind of doing with John's project. So I'm going to save this, okay? And I'm going to stop Unity here, okay? Let me quit this. Save and quit. We don't need this anymore. And I'm going to go out to my Unity hub, and I'm going to start up this project AAA2, okay, because that was the one I was experimenting with to make sure that I kind of hopefully knew how to do all this. And you'll see it's different because obviously I was doing it differently. But it's got the same basic things. The biggest difference you're going to notice is the mystical cylinder, the mystical glowing green cylinder. There it is, okay? Now, all this stuff that I talked about, the ambient sound, the mystic cylinder, maybe we'll turn that off for now so you don't have to deal with it, okay? You can turn these components on and off over here, okay? But if you look at lava, okay, again, play on awake is not there. And what we've done with lava is that we actually added a control script to it. So we're actually not calling it directly from the trigger, we're actually calling this control script. Let me show you what that control script looks like. And you can see I did a better job of making the lava this time, okay? All right, here we go. I don't want to give feedback. Okay, so the trigger script, okay, here's what we did. Okay, we have this object that we called lava control. We found what we needed, same way that we do the RTC mix stuff. And then on trigger enter, we call the lava start function. That's a function we made. Public void lava start. We have to say public so that the other trigger object could find it. And all you do is say PS, which is our particle system, play. And then we also attach sound to it. Remember I had that lava sound? You know, this is how you get the sound happening. We send the score from there, and then all this begins to happen too, okay? So let's go ahead and show you how that works. I'm gonna maximize it on play so you can get all the full experience. You can see I was having fun with different colored, like, mountains and stuff, okay? So there we go. Woo, it's a mysterious valley. Let's walk forward. Whoa! Okay, so that's basically everything that we did in this class up to now. Now, the mystic cylinder, okay? What the mystic cylinder is just a regular cylinder from Unity that I made very, very narrow, okay? Notice that the X and the Z scale are both 0.1. The Y scale is 10. The Y scale is the up and down scale. So there it is. And I also added this component called halo, which is what is giving it that glow, okay? And what we're doing with the mystic cylinder is we're actually using it to control a sound, okay? And let me see. We're on time pretty good. Let me go back out here to the cylinder sound. Okay, what this sound does is it's on a scale from 0 to 1, but it's basically 0 to 35 because I measured the distance from our observer to the cylinder is about 35. And as we traverse that, what happens, okay, is basically as you get closer to 0, so as we get closer to the cylinder, it basically raises the frequency in this Moog filter by that. And by that, that's that make connection thing. We're using that P field thing, okay? And the way that it looks is here. Okay, let me go down and find where is our, shoot, the pictures are in the way again. Sill sound, there we go. Okay, what's happening is that in the update method, we are getting the distance from ourself, the observer, to the cylinder. All right, and again, I'm just pointing this out because I'm actually going to go through this in some detail in class next time, but we're running a little bit low on time. But here, I want you to hear how it sounds when we play this, okay? So I'm going to hit play, all right? And listen to what happens as we get closer to the cylinder. Okay. First of all, let's turn down those god-awful lava sounds, okay? Because that was a little bit much, I think, okay? So here we go, lava control. Here's our amplitude. Let's make it be like 2,000. Yeah. Oh, that's even probably going to be too loud. Let's make it be 1,000, okay? And now let's try it. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was still compiling the script. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah, that's more reasonable. Now, notice as we're getting closer, and we fell off the edge. Okay. Yeah, so here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to clean up that version that I did, and I'm going to put that on the web for you all to download and give it a go. First of all, it looks so much better when it's not trying to do the frame rate over zoom where you're going like that whenever you move. It's quite smooth, and you can get a sense of how these different things are interacting. Take a look at it, and you know, maybe formulate some questions about the code if you want, and try modifying a few things. Okay, and yeah. And next time, like I said, we're going to look at that distance measure and kind of understand how that's working, and use that as a way of setting a localization of sounds. So that's going to be, again, we've only got one audio task to accomplish there. But the main thing is I wanted to show you, you know, building these terrains, and, you know, you can find, I'll put links into some of the good tutorial videos that I've found for both terrains and particle systems. Armed with those two things, you can do some really outlandish stuff and create some really kind of intense worlds, you know. Alrighty. Did I miss anything on the chat? Looks like there's a bit going on there.
I think most things are solved.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, good. I got to tell you, you know, teaching this over Zoom is a little bit disconcerting because I can't really tell what's going on. So I just kind of barrel right through and, you know, hope for the best. I'm going to turn off the recording now so people won't hear my abject apologies.